It's Friday, July 11th, and it's time for your weekly recap. This week's weekly recap is brought to you by MagicGeek.com, supplier of excellent magic tricks. Check us out at MagicGeek.com. Marco, what is your favorite SpongeBall trick slash DVD? My favorite SpongeBall routine is Mad Sponges. That is pretty near and dear to my heart, and there's a lot of stuff in there that is based off of other things like the growing SpongeBall and the growing SpongeBall outdone. There are elements in there that coincide with that. I think that was probably my favorite SpongeBall trick before Mad Sponges. Ben, how can you introduce SpongeBalls into a routine? There's lots of different ways you can make a SpongeBall come into a routine. The most simple way is to just flatten it out as much as possible and then snap your fingers and open your hands, this hand, at the same time and just have that SpongeBall appear. That's a really visually shocking thing. It's not that impressive to a magician, but to a layperson, they don't know anything about SpongeBalls, so when they see a round object just sort of appear at your fingertips, it's a really great way to start a routine. You could also use a special gimmick, if you know what I mean, and vanish a silk, but have a SpongeBall hidden in your hand when you vanish the silk, and then you make it look like you've changed the silk into a SpongeBall. That's a fun way to do it as well. You can also make the SpongeBalls appear under a chop cup or a set of cups and balls after you do a routine with those. There's lots of different ways. You just need to pick the way that fits your style and your routine, the structure of your routine, the best. Card Magic 247, do you think adults genuinely enjoy SpongeBall routines? Yes, this is magic that is happening in their hands. It doesn't matter how cheesy the prop is. I know some magicians won't touch sponge stuff because they feel like it's cheesy, but when someone opens their hand and there's something in there that they weren't expecting, that is very, very close to real magic. Miguel, what is a good way to make the bunnies multiply? The best way to make the rabbits multiply is put them into a spectator's hand. If you do it in your own hand, it's still a cool trick, but having it happen in a spectator's hand is way more magical and way more entertaining for everybody that's watching the trick. This week I want to talk to you about Illuminati. We just put up a bonus video for this, which has 2 bonus effects that you can use the Illuminati gimmicks for. This is a cool routine just to start with. You take a pull tab from a soda can and you change the shape of the hole in it to either reveal a playing card or change into a heart. And with these new methods, it's even more visual, less covers used, and it's more magical at the end of the day. Drew, I love SpongeBalls, so I have a few questions. First, do you have any particular color of SpongeBalls you prefer to use? No, not really. I've used a lot of different kinds. I don't really like the blue or the black ones that much, just because they don't stand out against what I'm wearing or in a darker room, depending on where I'm performing. So I don't really use those, but a yellow, an orange, a red, those really pop, and so those are the colors I usually choose. Also, what sponge prop is your favorite? I'm gonna say 2 because one is discontinued. Mad Sponges, Multiplying Rabbits, or 3D Rabbit Set by Goshman. I've heard you talk about sponge rabbits on a number of occasions. So is that your all-time favorite? It's not that the sponge rabbits are my favorite, it's that out of all the sponge things I've done, with the exception of Mad Sponges, it has always been the audience's favorite. So that it's kind of my go-to just because I listen to my audience and I want to give them what they want. And one last question, how do you feel about the half SpongeBalls painted to look like ladybugs? Are they good for adults as well as kids? Or is there any use for them at all? Okay, first of all, that was 3 questions. I think that if you have a routine that will work with the sponge ladybugs, then go for it. I haven't seen one yet that I was really in love with. I think it's a cool concept. I love it when sponge magic kind of goes in a different direction. The manufacturer of that also has the sponge bananas, which are hilarious. I don't know why, but you pull them out and the audience starts laughing. So I like it when the sponge props are more than just sponge balls, but I think you really have to own it and have your own routine to go along with it in order for it to be valid with adults or children alike. Thank you guys so much for watching the weekly recap. Be sure to join us next week when we talk about children's birthday parties. This is a topic we've talked about before, but I think you've got some new questions for me. So go ahead and ask in the comment section down below, what do you want to know about performing at children's birthday parties? And be sure to subscribe, as always, check out the other videos, and have a super califragilistic expialidocious sort of day. Swag.